Okay, we were talking about violating the law by Mr. Gruber, who claims to be a bona fide professor when he's actually a con man who has made millions of dollars off of the taxpayers by telling, maybe once in a while telling the truth. We don't know when, but we know he's lied. He just goes around telling professors and graduate students that he's lied, and they laugh at us. They laugh and say, hey, great fraud, Mr. Gruber. Well, what do we do about these guys? Well, first I must congratulate a wonderful public servant, Cornell University Law School, which runs this thing that puts on the federal law for all of America to see. And now about the laughers. Well, they heard him talk about his felony. And what does this law say? 18 U.S. Code Section 4, Misprision of felony. And it's current law, and you can look at the number and guess that it's pretty original law. Long time ago, they didn't like laughing folks at felony talkers. Maybe that's why. They wrote, whoever having knowledge of the actual commission of a felony cognizable by a court of the United States conceals and does not as soon as possible make known the same to some judge or other person in civil or military authority under the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Hey, would I be laughing now if I was one of them? I think I'd go and do some worrying. Maybe buy me an attorney. Get me every defense I could think of, or at least find out, is there a defense? Well, I don't want to give out the ending because I want to laugh at them for a while. I can. Those words should scare the dickens out of them if those words actually are the law and have been the law probably since the 1700s. They violated it knowingly. Now, the interesting thing to know is that the states don't have this law very often. In the states, you can commit a felony and tell everybody, and they don't have a duty to report you. There's a no-snitch law. It's like we are some community that doesn't believe in snitching on people. And a lot of states didn't enact such a law. Those that didn't should be ashamed of their state history, because this is the correct law. In my state, Florida, I don't believe they have such a law. And therefore, you can do a little bit more, but you got to watch out for those federal laws. I have judges in Palm Beach County, judges in St. Johns County, judges in Duval County, a judge in Miami-Dade County, a judge in Broward County, all who have done acts that appear to be sufficiently wrongful as to require the FBI, but the FBI will not talk to me. The Justice Department says we don't investigate judges. That was Bush's Justice Department, state judges that commit federal crimes, and then they retracted it a month later by somebody else sending me. Of course we do, but the FBI has to do it. The only FBI agent I know I have dealt with was in court. He stole $175,000 as a guardian from his ward's accounts, stole it and put it in his name, and got away with it. Oh, sure, he had to give it back because I got hired as an attorney, a volunteer attorney, for a while. I was volunteer because there was no money, and she'd been found competent, but the Judge Gary Von Hoff, refused to allow her to be legally competent. She was okay in the head, but Gary Von Hoff had an FBI agent who had stolen money, and he kept her incompetent as far as legally for 9 months. I wanted that man in jail, but there was nothing I could do. I couldn't even get the Florida bar to be bothered by it. They said as long as the order is written, they didn't care. So Judge Gary Von Hoff, why did you do that? And then I moved to disqualify him in another case, and he hid the order, the petition to disqualify, he hid it. He somehow ended up with both copies, the one that was for the court and the one that was for the clerk. And I waited and waited for him to do it, and finally had to go through the procedure, and he did sort of apologize for having both copies and not doing a thing about it. So we got judges in Florida. Palm Beach County is a cesspool of judges, a total cesspool. Oh, that was an advertisement for me. You should send money into Cornell. Don't send me a cent. I'll do this on my own. I'll never succeed because judges don't go to jail when they commit crimes. They continue committing them. Now, what happens to these people, though, that were laughing with him? What happens? I could tell you, but that'd ruin the fun. Are they going to have to worry about, not Obama, because Obama is the one that seems to be the co-conspirator, and therefore Eric Holder probably won't be doing it, nor would, the next lady, Loretta, Lynch, she won't want to do it. So probably won't happen. But what happens when the Republicans get in office? Are these laughing professors and graduate students all at risk? Do they have to hide the fact that they actually heard this guy? Do they have to take down their tweets about when they heard this guy? Do they have to hide every possible way that someone could find out they were in the room? Well, that's for them to find out, because I can't give a legal advice. I'm just educating people as to the state of the laws. And what it looks like, Mr. Jonathan Gruber indicated to us that he lied, and that the numbers he crunched were false, that there was all kinds of falsehoods that he told us, and that we were different than Massachusetts, which had $400 million that may be coming once or maybe every year. They're going to be using it to support their program. That wasn't clear. But he told us that was the difference after. He didn't tell us. He told those people that have to worry about misprision of a felony. He only told private meetings that I again salute Rich, I think he likes to be called, and let me think about his last, Rich Wiseman of Philadelphia, who started the ball. Somebody, please start the ball on judges who rule while the evidence hasn't been presented to the court and they have not seen it. The evidence is on the table. There's still 90 minutes in the hearing and the other side had not been heard, but they rule against the other side. And then the appellate court, a three-person panel, rules in favor of a judge doing that. Two judges actually do that. They refuse to allow both sides to be heard. They rule without hearing the side who's going to be dismissed. And then the Supreme Court of Florida did the same thing. They allowed it. They ducked it. How can you lose when that happens? That's the Queen of Hearts. First the verdict, then the trial. Well, guess what? You can lose when judges pretend they didn't see it, except that I filed interim pleadings that made it so that it came up repeatedly in the process. And the Supreme Court of Florida, that group of Supreme Court, yes, they are definitely guilty of misprision of a felony because the judge committed a felony and they hid it. I want the Supreme Court of Florida to have this section applied against them. I want it done. That particular bench, they should all be in jail unless they have an explanation that they can give to an FBI agent. Oh, the FBI, the guy stole $175,000, and no FBI agent will speak to me because I won't talk to them unless they bring a videotape and videotape every second that they're in my presence, because they are disgusting people. They are disgusting when they can steal money from a crippled woman, a woman who was forced to live on $300 a month as determined by the FBI agent. That's all he wanted her to live on, because she was his estranged wife who he hated, and he fought to become her guardian.